1000 Lup Sisters, Amy takes a big step forward. Finally gets surgery for her lazy eye. In the ever-evolving journey of resilience, transformation, and self-discovery that defines 1000 LB Sisters, few moments feel as deeply personal and quietly triumphant as the one Amy Slayton has been building toward for years. While fans have watched her navigate motherhood, weight loss, relationships, and emotional hurdles, this next chapter is different. It's not about numbers on a scale or dramatic confrontations. It's about something far more intimate, reclaiming her confidence. And this time, Amy isn't just taking a step forward. She's finally seeing things clearly, both literally and emotionally. For as long as fans have known Amy, her vibrant personality has been impossible to miss. Her humor, medically known as strabismus. Growing up, Amy learned to live with it. Like many kids who look or feel different, she faced teasing, awkward stares, and moments that quietly chipped away at her self-esteem. Over time, she developed a shield: humor. If she could make people laugh, maybe they wouldn't notice, or maybe it wouldn't hurt as much. But even as an adult, and later as a public figure, those feelings never fully disappeared. Cameras captured her life, but they also magnified her insecurities, more than just a cosmetic issue. To many viewers, Amy's eye condition might have seemed like a minor detail, but for her, it was never just about appearance. A lazy eye can affect depth perception, coordination, and even cause eye strain or headaches. Simple tasks, reading, focusing, or even maintaining eye contact, can become exhausting over time. Amy didn't always talk about the physical discomfort, but it was there. More importantly, though, was the emotional toll. So imagine living in a world where you're constantly aware of how people are looking at you and wondering if they're looking at you or at your condition. That kind of awareness doesn't just fade, it lingers. And for Amy, it became one more thing she had to carry. Amy's life has gone through massive changes over the past few years. From her weight loss surgery to becoming a mother, she's been forced to reevaluate her priorities again and again. Motherhood, especially, shifted something deep inside her. Looking at her children, Amy began to think differently. Not just about her health, but about the example she was setting. She wanted them to grow up seeing a mother who took care of herself, who faced her fears, and who didn't settle for just getting by. That's when the idea of finally addressing her eye condition came back into focus. At first, it was just a thought. Then it became a question. And eventually, it became a decision. Facing the fear surgery is never an easy choice, especially for someone who has already undergone major procedures in the past. Amy knew what it meant to trust doctors, to deal with recovery, to face uncertainty. This wasn't about losing weight or meeting expectations. This was about confronting something she had lived with her entire life. There was fear, of course. What if it didn't work? What if something went wrong? What if the results weren't what she hoped for? But there was also something stronger than fear: hope. The support system. One of the most touching aspects of Amy's journey has always been her family, especially her sister, Tammy Slayton. Laughter and deeply emotional moments. But at the core, there's always been a bond that refuses to break. When Amy shared her decision, the reactions were mixed at first. Concern, curiosity, and even a little skepticism surfaced. But ultimately, support won. Tammy, who has gone through her own transformative journey, understood better than anyone what it means to face a life-changing decision. And this time, she stood firmly by Amy's side. The morning of the procedure arrived quietly, but with an undercurrent of emotion that was impossible to ignore. Amy wasn't her usual joking self. There was a seriousness in her demeanor, a reflection of just how much this moment meant to her. Walking into the hospital, she carried more than just nerves. She carried years of self-doubt, memories of childhood teasing, and the silent wish to feel normal. But she also carried strength. The kind of strength that comes from surviving everything life has thrown at you and still choosing to move forward. A moment of change. Surgery itself is often a blur for patients, a series of preparations, a countdown, and then darkness. But what matters most is what comes after. When Amy woke up, the first thing she felt wasn't pain, it was anticipation. The doctors were optimistic. The procedure had gone as planned. Now, it was a matter of healing and waiting. Recovery wasn't instant. There were days of discomfort, moments of doubt, and the slow, sometimes frustrating process of healing. Amy had to be patient, a challenge for someone used to speaking her mind and living life out loud. There were follow-up appointments, check-ins, and gradual improvements. And then, one day, something shifted. Seeing herself differently. The first time Amy looked in the mirror after her eye began to align properly wasn't a dramatic, cinematic moment. It was quiet, subtle, but deeply powerful. For the first time, she saw a version of herself that she had imagined, but never truly experienced. It wasn't about perfection. It was about alignment. Not just physically, but emotionally. She wasn't hiding behind humor in that moment. She was simply herself. Confidence doesn't appear overnight. It builds slowly through experiences, choices, and moments of courage. For Amy, this surgery became a turning point, not because it changed everything, but because it changed how she saw herself. She began to carry herself differently, not drastically, not in a way that felt forced, but in small, meaningful ways, holding eye contact a little longer, smiling without hesitation, speaking without that underlying flicker of self-consciousness. These are the changes that don't always make headlines, but they matter the most. Fans of 1000 LB Sisters have always been deeply invested in Amy's journey. When news of her surgery began to circulate, the response was overwhelmingly supportive. Messages poured in, words of encouragement, admiration, and shared experiences. Many viewers saw themselves in Amy, her struggles, her resilience, her willingness to be vulnerable. It resonated. And this moment felt like a victory, not just for her, but for anyone who has ever wished they could change something about themselves. More than a physical transformation, it's easy to focus on the physical results of Amy's surgery, but the real story lies beneath the surface. This wasn't just about correcting an eye condition. It was about reclaiming control, about choosing to invest in herself, not because of pressure, but because she believed she deserved it, and that belief is powerful. Amy's journey is far from over. Life will continue to bring challenges, changes, and unexpected twists, but this moment, this decision will remain a defining chapter. It represents growth, courage, and the understanding that it's never too late to take a step forward. A message beyond the screen. What makes Amy's story so compelling isn't just the drama or the transformation, it's the relatability. We all have something we've lived with for too long, something we've learned to accept, even if it quietly affects how we feel about ourselves. Amy's decision reminds us that change is possible. Not always easy, not always immediate, but possible. In a show known for its big personalities and even bigger transformations, this moment stands out for its quiet significance. Amy Slayton didn't just undergo surgery, she faced a lifelong insecurity and chose to do something about it. And in doing so, she gave fans something even more meaningful than entertainment. She gave them inspiration, because sometimes the biggest steps forward aren't the loudest ones.